But soon, hang on. You're live now.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. The board wants to provide ample opportunity for public comment on matters that come before us. Your input is important. If you wish to address an item already on the agenda, we ask that you do so when that item comes up for discussion. If you have a comment on a matter not on the agenda, this is the time during our meeting for such comments. The board would like to remind everyone in attendance that to avoid violations of individual rights of privacy, a member of the public wishing to address the board during this time will not be allowed to make comments about any student, staff member, or member of the general public during this time. Does anyone wish to speak at this time? Okay, recognition of individuals, delegations, or correspondence.
At this time.
We'll recognize that we have Bridget Ekstrom with D.A. Davidson with us, but she will take part when we get to that item on the agenda. Consent action items.
And there's just an addition on the minutes, sir, as we have the July 14th and of course the August 4th special meeting, but also added should be the August 10th strategic planning.
Very good. Is there a motion on the consent action items?
I move to approve the amendments and warrants as presented.
It's been moved.
Seconded.
And seconded that we approve the minutes and warrants as presented. Any discussion? Discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Action items. Approve trustees' financial report.
Okay. Pam's the expert in this one, so if you have questions, if you direct them to her, but trustee financial report, these are basically, this is the official report that goes to the county superintendent and the state superintendent. Basically our financial summary from the 1920 from last year. Basically, it's a report of goals and quotes from various grant funds, balance sheets, goals, liabilities, revenues and expenditures, special education, and fixed assets and long-term liabilities. If you have any questions.
A few of those funds do increase year over year. Is that interest on that?
Like which ones, yeah. I mean,
Like the metal mines.
Metal lines, yeah. The only thing that is going in there is interest.
It's interest on that line. Okay.
Pam, could you kind of take us through this a little bit and maybe hit the highlights?
Sure.
Or anything that's changed or anything that's significantly different than the past?
I think you're looking at the budget report.
You want the thicker one? Just one. It's all just move that one. Yep. You got two things there. You got two things there.
Yeah.
You're on the second. You're on the first one. Should be on the second one. There you go.
Okay, this is 20.
That's
This is
the one we're
21.
We're talking about the one in your right hand at the moment.
Last year's?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, trustees' financial summary is from last year.
It's like a closing budget.
Yeah.
Annual budget.
Okay,
it's all the revenues and expenditures
right.
for that year.
My question was on the 21 budget, if you could kind of take us through the highlights and hit
Okay,
any
we're
change.
on the agenda. We're on the financial report, which
Okay,
is the last year's one. So
okay.
that's the one we're on.
Okay, the next
I
one
will take you
is
through the budget.
the next item is, okay, correct. So I would ask the same question that I think everyone's going to ask or something near that around the 1920 budget. Is there anything that stood out that was unexpected, anything that was really unusual as far as, the yearly budgets are concerned and how they close out?
Well, if you look on page 4, like the balance sheet of the general fund,
I'm slow. One, balance.
page 4.
This one? Oh,
Yep.
great, all right.
So if you look down on line 38, encumbrances, we have a lot of encumbrances, 106,000 of encumbrances. We started ordering late. Now, those are orders that are outstanding at the end of the year. And because of COVID, a lot of the orders take a long time.
And they may arrive in July or August, or maybe not even yet.
Not even yet.
Okay.
But they're on their way, they say. I think that's one of the biggest changes that I've seen.
Because Pam, we actually, for our bookkeeping purposes, when we incur the cost, we book it.
Yes.
We don't do accrual-based accounting.
Right, so those expenditures come out of last year, whether they come in July or this month or next month.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And that was the only question I had regarding the 1920 financial summary.
And the big jump in the building fund, that was obviously the insurance check for the health insurance. correct?
Yes.
Yeah, any other questions on the financial summary? Okay, if we could have a motion to approve that.
Okay, I move to approve the trustee financial summary for fiscal year 2019-2020.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the trustees' financial report for 2020 as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. Okay, now the final budget for fiscal year 21.
All right, so if you, there is a separate sheet that Cam did add to this that has some written in ink on the right-hand margin, just to kind of help as we walk through this. Of course, page, it says page 2 at the bottom, but it would be that inside page. This budget report right here, this is our whole budget. This is exactly what you are approving tonight when you approve this budget, is this page. But I'll kind of walk through how we did that. This page that Pam added here is actually the same budget report, but next to it, she does have last year's, the number of mills that were budgeted as taxpayers, and then the current mills that would be budgeted this year. One thing you'll see on here is, of course, we do have our general fund. General fund for this next year will be $5,247,679.91. You look into the fourth column over percentage of adopted budget reserve. It is 10.13. We are allowed to carry over 10%. So 1.3 would be penalties that were set probably against taxpayers who may have paid late fees or those kind of things. And so we collect them kind of after the fact because we didn't up front. So they are added to that 10%, which is fine because they are penalties coming out. So as we go through this, these numbers come from this report. So this page 3, 4, and 5, the next 3 are our general fund limits and reserves worksheets. This is how they come up with the number for our general fund. This includes everything with our direct aid, which is kind of basically your base amount that comes through. Quality educator money. We've got all sorts of different funds that are put in that, and then using our A and B, et cetera. When you get down to the bottom, it says, the maximum budget limit. I guess, well, next one is highest one without a vote, is what you can do without any vote, but the next one is your highest budget. So that's, if we were to max out the amount we can ask for with the voters, that's how much we actually could be at. But we're currently at basically the one just above that. So that's where we get our general fund is those. If you have any questions on each part, please just let me know. After that,
I'm sorry, what were those numbers again? I was just trying to follow it. Right?
so when you,
Got it, over on the other side, got it, okay.
yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, got it.
I will slow down a little bit.
I was still over on.
So yeah, all these, the numbers on this very first page, Sean, basically they come from the rest of this. So that's why I'm going through this, so then you can see where we get those.
All right, okay, thank you.
And so those first three, like I said, down there on the highest budget, J, is that $5,355,676. That's actually the maximum budget that we would be allowed with a vote. However, with our current amount that we levied previously, where we're at right now is the $5,247,000, basically our highest budget without a new vote is what they're getting at there. And so that's where they get it. We have a little bit on the American Indian Achievement Gap, not much because we don't have a very high Native population. At-risk quality educators, there's a lot of different things that they put in there. Our A&B last year was 687. And of course, they have the maximum budget limit there. So those are where they get those funds from.
And then A&D was a 3-year average, or was it a single year?
Last year, I believe we used the 3-year average.
Okay. You can use either or, right? Whatever's
Higher. Whatever gives you more money is what they will use.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, and then we can get over to page 6 of 7. Again, this is the general fund. And this is how you get that general fund amount. Some of the things, again, we list a lot of those. But one thing you want to look down is the third bolded area that says actual non-levy revenue and funding sources. Interest earning, which is the second one down there. On that one, that's an estimate also. That's an actual. That's an actual. So that is interest that we have accrued at this point. And I guess that's just worth pointing out there. If there are things that you need to clarify on these. The next page, which would be 8 of 17, is our transportation fund. Under the transportation schedule data, it's beyond schedule. Those are the rates and or the routes that basically would pay the mileage to pay for those routes and individual transportation contracts. When you get to the over schedule, that's basically what we pay our contractors to provide that service. We're allowed a 20% operating reserve, which is a couple down from that. And so that's our reserve. And then of course, returns on that. Those are that's depreciation fund. As you can see, we're at 147,151 and some change. We have 2 buses right now that we're depreciating. We can do 20% of the cost of the bus up until we spend no more than 150, or we've accrued no more than 150% of that cost. Next page on 10 of 17 is tuition fund. Tuition fund allows us to levy some funds from taxpayers to help pay for some of our special education needs. Particularly, this will help pay for the paraprofessionals that are one-on-one paraprofessionals. We are allowed to levy on that, and we, I believe 6 or 7 of those at this time that we're able to, but it gets some of the expenses out of there, not all of them. We did have leftover from last year. I think COVID kind of affected us. Well, I know it affected us, and so we ended up with extra in that. We weren't able to spend it down, so what we do is we basically transfer it over to the new fiscal year, but that means the difference then we won't have to levy taxpayers. Well, we only levy the taxpayers the difference between what we carry over and the maximum, and what we're allowed. Retirement fund, this is actually a county levy, but they do call it a school levy, and it's on, basically on behalf of the school, but the county does it. And it helps us pay the employer share of Social Security, Medicare, teacher retirement, PERS, and unemployment.
We're actually paying, the county will pay out Social Security and Medicare?
They will pay a portion of it. Understand that
Well,
correctly?
It comes out of our budget, but they levy it.
So they give it to us.
It's a county
They
levy.
give us the cash and we
Yes.
then pay it out.
It just struck me that they're paying a federal, I mean, Social Security and Medicare should be coming out, the federal, and that's actually coming out of the county levies that?
Yeah, it's not a district levy. It's a
Right.
county levy,
So the
Yeah.
county, like, still,
but it's for the school, yeah. It's to pay the our share. of
Employees.
Social Security, teacher's retirement, PERS, and unemployment.
We can bounce back just for a second to the rent appreciation. I was just curious, how much we had every year.
you know, you
You guys were at 147, 151 right now. About, just,
federal,
yes.
and then they pay.
Where we
You
at?
pay your 7.65.
So it's
Well,
gonna be 2 buses.
It's the 2 buses, so it'd be the 50,000 and the 30,000, so that'd be
Get some.
80,000.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, I see it there, I see.
County employees.
So that's the estimate, that's like line number, or whatever it says use estimate.
Yeah, well, and at the very bottom where it has the asset IDs, it has those first 2 buses. It says 20% limit.
There we go, got it,
That's the maximum amount we can ask for
per year.
per year.